And welcome back. Black and Pink NYC is a prison abolitionist organization serving queer, transgender, and HIV-positive prisoners. The organization believes the connection forged in the Pen Pal program can actually help demolish some of the barriers which allows the prison industrial complex to continue to exist. They also advocate for specific prisoner needs when possible, and also working to abolish the prison industrial complex as a whole. Here to provide the point of view on the matter, I'm joined by a member of Black and Pink NYC, Jennifer Love Williams. And Jennifer, good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on this very important conversation. And so when we talk about the prison industrial complex, we talk about a couple of things: the school to prison pipeline. We talk about mass incarceration. These are all things that the social justice movement really tackles and talks about. But when we talk about the prison industrial complex for you, what is it that you want to see abolished and why?
I always try to make sure that my wording doesn't really affect no one, but our point, at least my point, is very heard and understood. How I got into all this, because I am formerly incarcerated, and the punishment did not necessarily suit the crime, so to speak, as well as me being trans and a Black trans woman in the prison system. I endured a lot at the hands of officers and at other inmates, including rape and physical assault.
Now, when you say rape, I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off because you said rape. Are you talking about rape and physical assault by other inmates, or are you talking about with officers themselves? Can you clarify?
Well, the rape, the officer was right there while I was raped. So you covered for the inmate. You gave him what he asked for. And the assault happened less than 24 hours after that. I guess it was to make sure that I didn't talk or tell. So I know how others in my shoes have to go through at the hands of other inmates, whether the officers are co-signing it or not, as well as other inmates have been raped and assaulted by officers.
And so for you, very personal, and thank you for, taking the time to share. And I know that's not always the easiest thing to do, but it definitely helps us to put some things in context for why you do what you do and the work that you do. And so having these experiences and having some other experiences of those that you know close to you, you decided that you wanted to be a part of a group. So talk to us about your organization and the work that you're doing right now.
Well, currently I serve as a co-chair to Black and Pink National's FIP working group, which is an acronym for formerly incarcerated people. As you already know, I'm formerly incarcerated, as well as a member of Black and Pink New York chapter, NYC to be exact chapter. And I also am the creator and founder of the Gen Love Project, which is housed through Black and Pink NYC. And the Gen Love Project it provides care package and starter kits to recently released and soon to be released LGBTQ plus people. Currently, I'm only serving the states of New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts, with expanding to other states and locations in a very near future.
And so when we talk about the LGBTQ community, particularly when it comes to incarceration, a lot of people just simply don't know. I myself am not one that is very well versed in some of the challenges that the LGBTQ community faces, particularly when it comes to incarceration. You've enlightened me to a couple of things that you actually experiences that have occurred for you. Share with us for a few seconds about what are some of the things that we don't know with regards to the LGBTQ community when it comes to incarceration, and what would you like to see improve?
Until we get prisons and imprisonment abolished, there needs to be some sensitivity training for officers and staff to have full understanding of what a trans person may go through, let alone an LGBTQ person may go through while being incarcerated, because a regular inmate is going to have a harsh time of being stripped of everything that makes them that human person. So they're already stripped to modern day slavery. But then you add on the factor of a person who's living in their true self, such as a trans person. We even have it even harsher, such as, like I spoke earlier, the rapes, the violence, and the constant being put down, you're already treated as a slave to begin with, as an inmate. But can you only imagine what a trans woman would go through being incarcerated in a male prison? Even for those who got lucky enough for their respective states to be transferred to a female prison, you're still treated and beat by other officers and as well as other inmates, and you're in a helpless situation. So for me, I know that the Pen Pal Project, I'm a big advocate for. I had someone on the outside, which is my mom, who had her natural maternal instinct to know something is wrong with my child. I haven't heard from my child in a few days, to never get the full answers. And now, upon me speaking about a lot of things, she knows now. But at that time, all she knew was something was wrong. Mm-hmm. My child calls every day at this time. My child is not calling. I'm not getting no answers. Her lawyer's not getting no answers. So when it comes to the Pen Pal Project, this is where it's so important, because for me, I had someone who I can write to when I was able to get my mail out, mm-hmm. to let them know what I'm enduring. When I write up situations of harassment and sexual misconduct by officers, and I'm writing it up to the administrators, because we don't have wardens here in New Jersey. We have administrators per prison. And I'm writing it up, and I'm getting back a return response with a blot answer, as if I'm lying, instead of even sitting down with me. I'm able to get copies of this and send this out to my mom so she can speak on my behalf. And when you're told that, oh, you're just going off emotions because that's your child, or if maybe you have it in writing because you have a copy, physical copy, a physical hard copy of what was said to me and what I said, to bring acknowledgement to what's happening to me.
Right. So as you mentioned about the Pen Pal Project, I want to go a little bit further than that, right? So for somebody who doesn't know exactly about the Pen Pal Project, walk us through what that is and how beneficial was that for you, and how beneficial is that for an inmate?
Well, for a person on the outside to be a pen pal, hopefully it would be a moment inside where you feel good because you're doing right for someone who's being not only enslaved, but dehumanized more than what the modern day slavery is supposed to be. And to know that you're being a voice and an advocate for that person on the inside. And as for the person on the inside, there is so many men and women, especially when it comes to LGBTQ plus people, who do not have family and friends. Most of their family and friends have already had abandoned them upon them becoming their true selves before ever even being in any legal situation to be incarcerated. So to have someone who you know is on the outside that can be your advocate, that can be your voice, that can be your sanity, to let you know, I'm here for you, what do you need? And everybody who questions about signing up for Pen Pal, you don't always have to be it doesn't always have to be a monetary situation for the person on the inside. Just sometimes knowing that someone is there giving you those words of encouragement, to be able to call, to be able to email, or be able to write, to sit here and just vent to cry to, because you're already feeling less than human, and you have this person here on the outside who can give you some words of encouragement, not and speak on your behalf, to sit here and give you those words to let you know it's your birthday, to sit here, happy birthday, even though you're in the situation that you're in, that everything comes with a price. It gets greater later. Those kind of small words mean so much to a person who's inside, who truly has nothing, no one. So you being that pen pal, not only that voice, but you be that person's sanity, that person's beacon of light.
And when we talk about inside, right, that pen pal makes the difference between the inside and the outside. And so for somebody that's on the outside, one may not be so familiar. And from what you're saying, there is some discrimination, and huge discrimination from your perspective, that goes on with the LGBTQ community when it comes to incarceration. Can you give us a little bit of an insight as to what is the difference in terms of some of those discriminatory things that a person from the LGBTQ community would feel and experience inside incarceration that maybe a heterosexual person will not?
Well, obviously, coming into an incarcerated situation, especially an outed LGBTQ plus person or a trans woman being in a men's prison, you already come in the door with a target on your back. It's already frowned upon for the male inmates to communicate with you as a gay male, as an out gay male, or as a trans woman. So you're already done right there. And then when it comes to a trans woman, most of these prisons don't give two cares about your hormone therapy. They can care too less, and there's always inmates already looking at you as a fetish because they've been locked down so long. They see a feminine being coming in here, may it be a gay male, may it be a female, and they will strip you of that. You're already being dehumanized, like I said earlier, and they will strip you of that, which I personally have experienced, as well as you got officers. I remember an officer one time sat here and said to me, I'm just walking to medical to receive my hormone therapy this morning. And he happened to stop me, pat me down, threw me against the wall and told me, quote, you think you're a woman? You're still in a man's prison. I'm gonna show you you're not a woman. It smashed my face into a concrete wall. Don't get me wrong, on the outside, a trans woman, a gay man, we have to deal with a lot to begin with. But then being in that situation, and nobody's never gonna advocate for you. They're not gonna let so many of us be in one facility, in one unit at one time, so we can have another person that's just like you. They're gonna make sure you're separated, and you're always gonna be in a situation where you are around us 100 other men who sit here and hate your near existence, even for those who are low-key lusting after you, so they don't have to become a target. They're gonna low-key publicly hate you as well, and do just as much attack. And not to mention the people who have the self-hate because you are attracted to me or that gay male in here and have sexual thoughts. You're gonna sit here and assault me, stab me.
Enlightening you are, and sharing a little bit about the experience, because for many people, as we said, don't know. For many people already, just being a heterosexual going behind prison bars, people don't know what life behind prison is. And clearly there is a difference between those who are heterosexual and those that are in the LGBTQ community. And I do want to thank you, for Jennifer, for being so graphic and sharing with us a little bit about what goes on. And when I say a little bit, there is so much more that, of course, this one segment cannot be able to contain, but for you to be able to share that in such a way that we can better understand what goes on and the need for justice, even in the LGBTQ community and for the trans community as well, in that manner. Let me go here. You got some other great things that you've been doing as a result of this. You got what's called the Gen Love Project, and I want you to take the opportunity to share with our viewers a little bit about the Gen Love Project.
A lot of the LGBT community, a lot of them do not have family and friends who can provide them with these basic needs. Coming home, our incarcerated person, period, coming home, you're already limited. But then when you add the extra strikes of being LGBTQ, especially a trans woman or man, you're already even turned further away to even have less than a normal incarcerated person come home, and they already have less. So I wanted to do my part to make sure that I gave what I could to help the trans women and rest of the LGBT community coming home with the basic needs, such as t-shirt, panty, and or boxers, socks, deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrush, soap. At this current time, I have masks as well as hospital grade masks, as well as hand sanitizer, a food voucher to like McDonald's, Subways, as well as transportation to a two-way transportation situation so they can get to their first place appointments, whatever it may be, as well as a resource guide, one for New Jersey, one will be for Massachusetts, and one will be for New York, of where they can go to help them find a proper HIV care, mental health care, overall physical health care, as well as HRT, which is hormone therapy replacement. And I just wanted to do my part to make sure that my sisters and brothers have what I was afforded to be given. I want to make sure I do my part because I know they're gonna have a harder road to become quote unquote a proper productive person of society when every avenue was turning against you to begin with before even being incarcerated, and then enduring whatever you guys had to endure being in there, coming home and still having every door shut in your face just because you are who you are. And then now you got to add on the fact that you have a criminal record now. So I want to do my part to make sure that they have the starter kits and to help them get to what they need and go to where they need to go to get the help that they need.
Well, Jennifer, before we get out of here, please, an opportunity for those who may be watching, how can they support the work that you're doing? How can they get connected to you?
Well, I have an Act Blue account, which Black and Pink has created for me, so all donations and stuff will go directly to it. And hopefully anyone and everyone can donate. Every dollar helps. And like I said, soon I'll be expanding past New Jersey, Boston, Massachusetts, and New York, and I'll be expanding to other locations.
Well, Jennifer Love Williams, thank you so much for being our guest here on The Social Justice. Thank you for enlightening us, and really also thank you for taking the time to share your story. And I know that anytime that somebody unpacks a story like that, there is a sense of emotion that comes with that, and it takes you back to a place. But I want to tell you, thank you so much for being so open and being able to share with our viewers exactly some of what's going on. It's painful, but it's also possibly somebody else's healing, including your own. But thank you so much.
I just want to say one more thing before I go. You guys can always find me on social media. It's pinned to all my social media outlets, such as my Facebook, which is Jennifer Love Williams, my Instagram, which is Jennifer Love 1976, all one word. And then on Twitter, it's Jenny Love, JENNILOVE 1976. If you go to any one of the pages, my Act Blue, which you can make donations through, is right there. Remember, every dollar helps. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Jennifer Love Williams, our guest here. And thank you. Listen, we are taking a quick break. And when we come back, we will have more on the social justice forums, talking about the criminal justice system as we continue to unpack things here on the social justice.